Hey guys, hope your Christmas was fun. Welcome back to another one of our devotionals. Let's start off with a little game of Would You Rather. No more Christmas questions though. All right. The first question is: Would you rather have a personal maid or personal chef? Question two: Would you rather have a cuddle session with a koala bear or play around with a panda? And finally, would you never have or will, be able to eat a watermelon? No more watermelon ever again. Summer be the same? Or have to eat some watermelon with each meal? 3 questions, 3 answers. Want to hear from you. All right? Today our memory verse today is from Matthew 24, verse 44, where it says, "Therefore you also be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect." That's exactly what we're talking about, the coming of the Lord today. So again, let's try this. When it says, "Therefore you also be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect." With Christmas just behind us, hours to days old, depending on when you watch this, let's suppose, okay? Let's pretend that you knew Christmas was coming, but you didn't know when. So you knew Christmas was a day on the calendar. You just didn't know what day. Every year it could be different. Let's just pretend that that's what happens. And nobody knew until the day of. Let's say it's a secret. Could be at any time. Surprise, tomorrow's Christmas. Ooh. How would you prepare, knowing that Christmas could be any time, any place? Would you do anything differently in how you prepare and how you make the great day of Christmas so special? In our lesson today, we're going to talk about how Jesus handled this similar type of question with his disciples in when he would return from heaven. With the disciples asking, "Hey, when would that be?" Basic question. Jesus didn't know how to tell them. So let's go through our Bible and find this. It's in Matthew chapter 24. We're going to start in verse 36. Jesus says, "Now concerning that day and hour no one knows, neither the angels of heaven nor the Son, except the Father alone. As the days of Noah were, so the coming of the man will be." Coming of the Son of Man will be, sorry. So, Jesus is fielding questions on what the book of Revelation talks a lot about, on the end of days, on the rapture. And a lot of people have those questions still today. When? Are we in it? All these type of questions. But let me make sure you understand. There are two separate things. When the tribulation period is going to happen after God raptures us home. And Christ's return will be after God comes and meets us in the air and takes all the believers home in an instant. Rapture, revelation period. Okay? Those are 2 different things. Let's not blur them. Because a lot of people still believe that the church, us Christians, will be in from chapter 3 through the end of Revelation. We're going to deal with all these different ordeals and weirdness that's going to happen on the earth. That's not true. God calls the church home first. There will be Christians in that time period because people will still be saved, but I digress. Anyway, the disciples had questions. Now they want to know the day, the hour. Will the rapture and your Christ's return happen, say, like in a July, maybe 15th, or maybe in a fall period, like a September? They want to know exact details. I don't blame them. I would love to know. how many years we have left on the earth. Is 2020 just a foreshadow of the craziness that's going to come? Or has just been just a terrible series of misfortunes? But God tells us by using the example of Noah. Now, that's not a comparison a lot of people make, because Noah and his ark, which we have gone through. If you have missed it, go back into the YouTube channel archive and watch that. Where God called Noah, a righteous man, to build an ark so that he and his family could be saved from the upcoming desolation of the earth, which turned out to be a flood. God didn't tell Noah, build the ark by the 31st of December, because on January 1st, it's all water. No. Those were in details. That's not what happens. Noah didn't know when. He just knew that it was coming. Just like we don't know when Christ will return. We just know it's going to happen. And that's sadly not what all these authors and movie producers and TV show people want to tell us. They like to think that there's some hidden code in the Bible, or that God has this secret agenda, or whatever. You know, the Left Behind series would have been a lot better if they actually stuck to the Bible, but that's just my opinion. No one knows. All the people that predict and have predicted that Christ will return in 2012, it was the year of the Mayans. No, he never did. Christ will return on July 32nd. Oh, wait. Hey. No human knows. And no angel knows. The Son of God, Jesus himself, doesn't know when it will happen. Only God knows. God the Father knows. Not me, not any of the Michael or Gabriel. No one knows. But God knows. It is a day that is known, so that we can take comfort in that. Only God does. And when people start making predictions of 2021, hey, watch out. No, they're fake. They're not true. They're just a bunch of people just guessing like everyone else does. Just like they did in Noah's time. Because after all, God compares this revelation, this rapture and the Christ's return, this end times type of things, to Noah. The same lessons that the earth should have learned, that we can learn from Noah, can be seen for this Christ's return in the end of days. That there will be some terrible things happening. But only God knows when it's going to happen. He's not going to give us days and times. He just calls us to trust him and to continue doing what is right. Let's continue. There's a bit more comparisons to Noah in verse 38. For in those days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day Noah boarded the ark. They didn't know until the flood came and swept them all away. This is the way the coming of the Son of Man will be. See, in the days of Noah, while Noah is building this ark, Noah is preparing, and that should have been the key warning sign. They just acted normal. Had their holidays, had their celebrations, had their normal lives, got married, had kids, all the normal things that us humans do. But they missed all the warning sign. Just like a lot of people on earth, miss what God tells us. The Bible is a great guide for us. It tells us all about what sin is and how we're guilty of it, and the upcoming tribulation period, and all that where we will all be judged for our sins. But only those who believe in God will be declared not guilty because of Jesus' death and resurrection on the cross. The people of Noah's time missed the opportunity and died. Every day of our life could be our last. We don't know when the day will Christ return. We don't know. And that day when Christ raptures us, the believers all home, earth is going to look terrible. And Jesus talks about that in a second. But since every day could be our last, we need to act like it by telling others about who Christ is, by not giving into the idea of like, I'll talk to them tomorrow. I'm sure they'll be fine. I'm sure they understood what I meant. No. Continue every day. Show love, show kindness, tell others about Christ. It's hard, but every day it's something that we have to do. And every day could be our last. Look at what Jesus gives like a little foreshadowing of what that day was going to look like on earth. In verse 44, 41, and 42, of the day like when the believers in God are raptured, are called up to heaven. In verse 40, it says, "Then 2 men will be in the field, one will be taken, one left. 2 men will be grinding grain with a hand mill. One will be taken, one will be left. Therefore be alert, since you don't know what day your Lord is coming." Think about that for a second. It's just going to be a normal day until Christ calls us home. And then in that second, in that instant, fraction of a second even, some people will be here, some people will not. And the earth is going to be chaotic in that minute. But it's going to be wonderful celebration in heaven when we all get there. But that's why Jesus tells us that we need to be woke, stay alert, because God will return at any moment. Sadly, some will be out of time and chances too, like in the time of Noah. When Christ returns, it's over. There's no more second chances. Time for judgment. Jesus gives us one more example of what this moment, this day, is going to look like in verse 43. "But know this, if the homeowner had known what time the thief was coming, he would have stayed alert and not let his house be broken into. This is why you are also to be ready, because the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect." Christ could come back at any moment, just kind of like a thief. Jesus gives this example of someone robbing a house. The owner doesn't know when it's going to happen. If he did, he probably would have prepared for it. Made the fences, make it like a Home Alone style booby trap. But he doesn't know when this robbery will happen. Instead, Jesus, like the homeowner, tells us that we always need to be prepared. And that starts off with having a relationship with Jesus by asking for forgiveness for our sins. Growing in our faith, witnessing others, because God is coming back. Soon. Maybe now? No, okay. But we don't know when. We just need to pay attention, stay alert. Pay attention to the teaching of Jesus. Stay alert for the opportunities to share the gospel with others. We just need to know Jesus will always be with us. When we learn Jesus is always there right beside us, one, it comforts me, gives me great hope, but it also helps me do things a little bit differently, less selfishly and sinfully, by trying to please God instead of trying to please myself. See you next time, guys.